Very well, welcome to Clan Live Fan TV. My name is Callie York. I'm joined tonight by two special guests again, the return of Craig and Lewis Malky Puck. How are you doing, boys? All right?
I'm not bad, mate. Yourself?
All right. Thank you for coming back on. It's only been a couple of weeks, but due to popular demand, we've had requests for Lewis and Craig to come back on. So here we are, back talking again. So since we last spoke, there's been another 6 signings to complete the roster. There was Kevin Massey, Brad Kennedy, Ewan Simpson, Gabriel Chabot, Ty Taylor, and Nolan Laporte. So we got to Harry Ferguson the last time we recorded. Come over to you first, Lewis. The roster is now complete. Any views on these last 6 signings at all?
I think we've got a fantastic team going into next season, to be honest. I'm really impressed with the recruiting Malcolm Cameron's done. I think the Nolan Laporte signing especially showed a lot of intent to win some silverware. Bringing in Brad Kennedy, one of the things I said in the last video was how much we needed someone who could sort of throw some hands and throw his weight around, and he looks like the kind of guy who'll be able to do that.
Mm-hmm. What about yourself, Craig? Any of these last 6 signings that have stood out to you?
Well, 100% happy with the return of Laporte. You know, you can see the guy's passion. Literally, I mean, all you need to do is look at the playoffs. The guy was distraught when we didn't get through, you know, so the passion's definitely there. Quite liking the look of Kennedy as well. You know, I've looked up some of his videos as well and quite impressed by what I've seen for him. Definitely, you can see that it's a team that Malcolm's been working on for a bit now, you know, because it's not just like running late like we were last season, which is quite good. So hopefully we're going to have some proper intent this year.
Definitely. One guy that stood out to me was Gabriel Chabot. I see he's been referred to as a possible Charlie Combs player that buzzes about and causes a lot of trouble. So I'm interested to see him. I'm always like to see these players you don't really know too much about, but he's one, I think, to watch for this coming season. We've got a few questions that came in from various people. So the first one I'm going to go on to is from Glasgow Hockeyman at clan_man00. I'll give you this question, Lewis. Who's the biggest regret not coming back from last season for you, and who would you have liked to have seen in purple but signed elsewhere?
In terms of regrets, I don't really regret anyone not coming back. I feel like if players wanted to be on the team, they would. Don't get me wrong. The one name that pops to mind is Shane Starrett, I think he was fantastic last season, and he will be missed this season. Names that have signed around the league that I wish had signed, there's a few obvious ones, such as Brendan Connolly signing for Sheffield, and even some bigger players such as Gagnon for Panthers, and sort of those big physical bodies that I think will. The one negative will be that we might miss some of those this season, but when you look at teams like Belfast last season, they didn't have many bodies like that, and you know, won 2 trophies. So
yeah, that comes nicely on to another question we got, which was on that area of the enforcer role. So I'll just cover that off just now while we're talking about that. I'll put this question to yourself, Craig. It comes from Michael White at Mikey Dapiki. And what he said was no recognised enforcer and a deco that don't take many penalties. Is this Malky's reaction to the refereeing in the league? So do you think that recruitment's been based around that?
I don't think he's particularly went out his way to look for people that don't incur penalties. We all seen it last season. The amount of penalties Clan was getting was unreal, especially in particular games. For example, in Dundee, it was quite obvious from the interviews that Malcolm gave after them that he wasn't used to this sort of officiating, and it kind of goes to show you the sort of level of officiating we've got in the league. It's just not up to standard from what we'd expect it to be. But don't get me wrong, obviously we want hockey. You want to see the gloves get thrown down every now and then. You know, get a bit of fighting involved as well. Everyone enjoys watching that, including the kids as well. You know, but yeah. It's just. I think it's just the way it's kind of panned out with the players he's signed. He's obviously happy with who he got. He went in early and got the people he wanted to get. So I have every faith in the team. Looking at the lines we've got so far, I'm definitely happy with it.
Yeah. That was something you touched on in the last episode, Lewis. You had a slight concern about there was no Dyson Stevenson type there. Do you think guys like Gagnon have a place in this league, or do you think they're going to take too many penalties?
No, absolutely. I mean, I think the Panthers this year are going to be a really entertaining team because of the amount of sort of physicality they've got on their roster now. I think it does have a place in the league. It's just whether you get the right mix of guys. I mean, you look at Manchester, maybe, was it 4 years ago? 4 or 5 years ago, they had a really physical team. Goon Squad, obviously they were nicknamed, and they came third in the league. So it's just whether you get the right mix of guys that will work out whether they place in the league.
Definitely. I mean, it's interesting because we had Lyndon Springer, but Lyndon Springer obviously had a few fights at the beginning of the season, but then actually he calmed down and he played hockey, and there was people that didn't really want to come anywhere near him towards the end of the season. So he did his role and he was able to play a good game of hockey as well. So it will be interesting to see what happens, and be interesting to see if Steelers start signing some similar kind of players to get involved in that kind of stuff with Nottingham. But I do agree, it's looking interesting over at the Panthers for this coming season. Going to move on to a couple of other questions we've got in, which are all around a similar kind of theme. So, first one is around captains. So it's Sean McClardy at Seanski15, and Sean's basically saying, who do we think will be named captains for the season and who will be the alternates? So, thoughts on that, Craig? Captains for next season, who do you see standing out as a captain?
Kind of obvious one for me, I reckon, is Dixon. I reckon Dixon's going to come in and take the C. And for the alternates, we're going to have, I reckon, Laporte and Mitch Jones for the alternates. Reason why I was thinking Nottawa is because I think he's going to go into like a player coaching role. So I think that would be more suited for him, especially when his part of his career as well. So that's why I was thinking he probably wouldn't be either getting the C or the A. But I reckon that's who's going to get them at the moment.
What do you think, Lewis, around captaincy?
I've gone for the sort of opposite thing. I think Dixon will step into more of the coaching role that Matthew Waugh had last year. I think Wild captaincy. I think alternates, you'd be looking at players like, probably go with Colton Waltz and maybe even Nolan Laporte as well, or Craig Peacock.
Okay, and certainly good choices. One that I sort of picked out, similar to what you said, I think Dixon will be the captain, but again, we've had no confirmation of assistant coach, so we need to probably wait and see what happens with that. But I think Massey might be up there for an option as well. But who knows? We'll just need to wait and see. But there's certainly plenty of options. There seems to be a lot of leadership in the roster, which is good to see, and guys who have captained or had alternates elsewhere. So that's good. Moving on to another couple of questions. Question here from Big Dave. He does ask the same question about the A's and the C's, but he also asks who will be the standout returning player and who will be the standout new face. Now that's difficult because we don't really know what's going to happen in terms of the new players, but who would you expect to be a returning player that you think will push on this season, and who would you think could be a standout new face?
For me, returning, I reckon obviously Stenton, 100%. He definitely deserves to get his 2-year contract. He's going to be big, I reckon. He's every season I've seen him play, he's continue to grow as a player, and continue to grow defensively there. And you've got the other guys like Jones and that to kind of look up to and help him to progress his career. In regards to new faces, there's a few there that are kind of standing out, but based on what I've seen personally, I would definitely say Dixon, because we've obviously seen Dixon playing for Cardiff. So I've had personal views and seen him playing myself, whereas like the other guys, they're definitely exciting me from what I'm seeing on YouTube, but videos can show you a different angle sort of thing, so only time will tell with that.
It's interesting around Dixon because there was rumours coming out of Dixon signing or being a target prior to the playoff weekend, so I took my time and made sure I watched him on the ice down the playoff weekend, and he has a sort of influence on the ice. I don't know whether it's more so his focus on him, but when he's on the ice and he has a right, I think he will make a big difference to us. He has that confidence because he's won trophies with Cardiff, but there was something about him. He's some kind of presence, I feel, on the ice. What about yourself, Lewis? Who do you think, now you've seen the completed roster, returning player you think could potentially be a standout, and a new face you think possibly could stand out as well?
Returning player I think will be a standout. It's hard to look past Mitch Jones. I think he'll be the top scoring D-man in the entire league next season. I think he's fantastic to watch, and being partnered with such talent up front as we've got this season up in the top two lines. He's definitely going to rack up the assists and obviously his shots from the blue line as well.
Yeah.
New players, I think signing McParland is fantastic, for sort of goal scoring acumen he's got. As much as folk find it hard to believe, I do follow the ECHL, so I've seen him play, and yeah, he knows where to put the puck. I think signing Dunbar as well, he can pick out a pass from absolutely anywhere, and maybe those two paired up will be a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, Dunbar probably coming into the assist. We've lost Yellowhorn to Coventry, but Dunbar maybe coming in and filling that role and potentially more the assist man rather than the goal scorer. But you tend to forget about guys like Dunbar because he was signed at the beginning. But when you actually start looking down the roster, there's a lot of strength and depth right across it. Go on to another question. It's a question from Aaron Imrie. He asked who do you think the captains will be, which we've answered. But he says, is there anyone, Lewis, you're disappointed that didn't return this year?
No, like I said, I think everybody who wanted to be on the team and play under Malcolm Cameron has come back. For example, Mitch Jones, Matthew Nolan Laporte, anyone who didn't want to be here is gone, which I think shows what Malcolm Cameron's capable of to make the unpopular decisions and do what's best for the team.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that. The only one I'd probably say that I would have liked to have seen back was Matt Haywood in terms of the Brit line, but obviously Matt Cameron's made that decision to change things about, and we'll see how that pans out. I mean, Andy, you're disappointed not to have back Craig at all? Are you pretty happy the way things have gone?
I'm happy with the overall lineup we've got. The obvious one is 100% Shane Starrett. I don't reckon we'd have got as far as we did last season without him in between the pipes, but like Lewis said, if they want to be back, then they'll be in that lineup, because I'd be willing to bet money on it that Cameron would have definitely approached Starrett with another contract offer, especially based on that performance last year. So you don't know what's obviously happened. It could be family, missing his family abroad sort of thing, and it could always be down to what makes the world go round, a bit of money, but just really depends on own personal preferences and what they're looking for from their careers. But I'm definitely happy with the lineup we've got.
Yeah, that links quite nicely into the next question. We're going to cover off the discussion around goaltending. This is a question that comes in from Lorraine at Razquitz2009. And Lorraine asks, Lewis, what are your thoughts on having three goalies?
I think it's the way forward. Absolutely. You've seen last season how tired Shane Starrett looked in some games, and Malcolm Cameron obviously didn't trust in McLaughlin enough to play him as a replacement, give Starrett a rest. So, yeah, like I said, all the teams that have won the league in recent memory have all had three goalies. I think it's the way forward.
Yeah, so we saw Ty Taylor coming in, Craig, after the last time we recorded this. We had Zach Driscoll before that. We also saw Ewan Simpson coming in from Solway. What's your thoughts around that goaltending? Do you think we will see Ewan Simpson as a backup on a night and we'll go at either Zach or Ty on game night? Or what's your views on that?
My thoughts are for Simpson is going to be the backup and to alternate between Taylor and Driscoll. I reckon Driscoll's going to be the sort of main guy just based on what I've seen myself personally, but only obviously time will tell. But I have seen a lot of things on social media and things like that about the goalkeeper situation with the fact we've got three goalkeepers and why are we going for three goaltenders initially, and do we have the trust in them? But the thing is, a lot of the players that we've seen coming into Clan have been unheard of until they came into Clan. They've been absolute massive performance. I mean, Starrett's a prime example there. I never heard of him until he signed for us, and just like what he done. So we've got to have faith in the goaltenders we've got.
Lewis, we're bringing in, people may say the guys we're bringing in, they've not had much pro experience. Is that a concern of yours, or do you think Malcolm Cameron knows these guys and knows people who know them? I did see an interview recently online with Ty Taylor, and he basically was drafted by Tampa Bay Lightning, and after that he didn't get a lot of breaks at other teams. He didn't play a lot because of that, which affected his stats. So do you think sometimes stats are a bit skewed as well?
Yeah, stats are definitely misleading, especially in the terms of goalkeepers. I think goalie stats are either the most inflated or the most inaccurate in all of hockey, to be honest, because you don't get to see a sort of plus minus like you do for D-men or forwards to see how much they're doing on both sides of the ice. You know, when you get goals against, you don't get shown what sort of defence they've played in front of, anything like that. So I try not to look at stats too much in terms of goalies, and it's just judgment on it.
Yeah, I mean, you pitched on a good point there, Craig, around Starrett. You know, we didn't really know anything about Shane Starrett when he came in. They're 6'4". Ty Taylor's of a similar height. Zach Driscoll played at a good level with Uni and came up against NHL prospects week after week. And maybe we look at the stats and we see the guy's age and we think, you know, they're maybe not going to do so well, but we could get to the end of the season again and we could be saying we must hold on to Ty Taylor and Zach Driscoll. So I suppose time will tell. So it will be interesting to see how the guys do, but I've given the faith that Malcolm Cameron knows a lot more than we or the fan base know in terms of the potential of these guys, and hopefully he's picked another couple of gems up there as well. We've looked at the goaltending there. Have a sort of look at the lines in terms of how we think the lines will pan out. I've just put up my thoughts here, but open to debate because we don't really know what's going to go. So I see a first line potentially of Wah, Dixon centering it, and Laporte. I think Wah and Laporte will probably play in the same line because Laporte sort of hinted in his interview with Craig Anderson that he was looking forward to play with Wah. So that one's there. Second line, I can see Dunbar playing with McParland and Chabot. But again, you could probably shift them around because you could see McParland playing with Wah and Laporte and Dixon playing with Dunbar and Chabot. I can probably see a third line of County, Hayden and Kennedy and a fourth line of Boeza, Peacock and Ferguson. But that's just, we know that Malcolm Cameron Lewis is he doesn't really stick to a line. If it's not working, he changes it and he'll change until he finds something that does work. I think it doesn't really matter in your reputation. If you're not performing, you'll be shifted about. What's your thoughts around lines? I know it's early to say, but what do you see happening with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you said, if Malcolm Cameron sees you're not performing, they will shift it around. And it's good to see that the way that I've got the lines sort of projected is very different to you, because it shows the versatility in the team to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So I was thinking a first line of Wah, McParland and Laporte. I think in the second line, Dixon will play on the left but still take the face-offs and be paired up with Hayden and Dunbar. And I think Chabot will play on the third line with County and Kennedy on the left, and then the Brit line is the fourth line.
Interesting. I mean, it's hard to tell, but I think, Craig, what this does show us as a strength and depth, you know, of the roster, that we could really mix and match and be pretty happy with where we're putting people. I mean, what's your views of any changes around who you would see playing anywhere?
So for the first line, I actually agree with your prediction there. I think that's how it's going to work out with Dixon, Laporte and Wah for the first line. I don't see somebody as big as Dixon coming in and not wanting to be in first line, to be honest with you. But just looking at the calibre of forwards we've got, I mean, you could put near enough any of these guys into any of the lines, because obviously we've got that much good goal scoring talent there as well, you know. So it's quite good to see the differences that we've got, and it doesn't look like a team where we're going to have to stick with our guns and say no, we think they're going to be able to do it. Because as you said, obviously Cameron's not going to want to stick with a line if it's not going to work for him. And the fact that we've got this level of players coming to as well this season, it just looks like we're going to see a lot of changes until we find that magic setup, you know. But it could be that we do go with the same line for the full season. If it works, don't change it, obviously, but we'll find out soon enough. Not soon enough, unfortunately.
That's it. I mean, obviously Hayden's a big one there. You were putting him on the second line, Lewis, and he certainly has the potential, you know, to score a lot of goals, I think, in this league. The reason I really went with Dixon in that line with Wah and Laporte was because I feel that Dixon is probably not so much a natural goal scorer, and if you put McParland on there, you're almost putting all your poachers, Laporte, and McParland on the one line. So I think that's why he might move McParland on to be assisted by Dunbar to get goals from that line. And Chabot, I think, could come in as a sort of Charlie Combs, but better forward for the Clan hopefully this season. But time will tell, and as we said, it depends really how guys perform, and we'll probably all be completely wrong. We'll probably have Peacock on the first line, and who knows. And even Cowney was in his interview was saying about he'd basically been told he would get a chance. So maybe Cowney's going to get a chance at second line. Who really knows? He's played with Dunbar before in the first line at Guildford, so it's interesting to look at it. In terms of the D lines, it's probably difficult. The pairings, who would you see Lewis pairing up, or do you think it's too early to say?
I think obviously the main thing is to have a left and right shot on each side. I think we've got a lot of right-handed players on the day this season, so I think pairing Stanton up with someone a bit more experienced like Bhutan is essential. I think those two will pair up. I think Mitch Jones and Giggly Toth, I think will pair up. I think Massey and Waltz will pair up as well.
What do you think, Craig? What's your pairings, or is it hard to say, really?
Hard to say, but at the moment I've kind of wrote down Jones and Tote, and then Bhutan and Massey for second, and then Waltz and Stenton, and maybe I reckon for this season, unless obviously it's not working, Jones and Tote will be together. That's what I'm looking at it, but I think it's going to be a case of between Waltz, Stenton, Bhutan and Massey, they're going to kind of mix them up as time goes on, and like I said before, if it works, and I don't reckon they'll change it too much, but if we see there's problems, and I think that is going to be a case of mixing those guys up.
Yeah, I went for Waltz and Massey, I went for Jones and Bhutan, and I went with Stenton and Tote. The reason I went with that is probably, I don't know whether Jones and Tote play in the same line. I think they will in the power play, because that would be completely dangerous in terms of their shots from the blue line. But do you really want to have two really offensive guys on that 1D line? So I've gone the line of having Massey, which is more a stay-at-home guy, with Waltz, who likes to get forward. Jones, who likes to get forward, with Bhutan, be more defensive. And Stenton playing that alongside Tote really taking on that, as we should we really say the name, Cody Saul. So Cody Saul sort of taking on that line. I think Tote will take on that line and bring Stenton under his wing. But again, I could be completely wrong. I'm just completely guessing. That's my justification, is really trying to get a bit more balance between defensive and forward play that could score goals. So yeah, time will tell with that there. So how do we look at the lines and what we think they'll be? Now I want to move on to areas to improve. So I pulled together a graphic here. We're obviously looking to challenge, I believe, top four. Do you think that's realistic, Lewis? Is that should be what we should be looking for this season?
Yeah, it's realistic, and it should be the expectation as well. I think anything under top four is a disappointment, to be honest. I think the expectation should be a lot higher for this club in terms of what the fans expect. I think it's definitely realistic this season.
Yeah, I would agree. I think we need to be looking towards top four. Bearing in mind we came sixth last season, Craig, and you could probably argue we should have probably been better than that. We lost a lot of games. Our home form wasn't great. We threw a lot of things away. So what would you say, top four, would you be looking to challenge in as well?
100%. I'd like to say I'd be looking to win the season, but let's be a bit more realistic, especially comparing the sort of budgets that other teams have. But looking at the group of guys we've got coming in, there's absolutely no reason in my mind that we should not be getting in top four. We should be making playoff final weekend this season, 100%. Anything less than that, I'd say, is a disappointment.
Yeah, we have a couple of questions and expectations I'll come on to in a minute, but just want to look at maybe the gap then. If we want to be getting top four, we have to probably look at the teams that were up the top. How were they performing against what we did last season? And maybe gaps in terms of improvement. And we talked about stats can be quite skewed, but I think over the course of a season, if you see Belfast, for example, so we look at the Belfast stats for last season, they scored 224 goals, an average of 4.15 per game. Goals against was 108, so they lost an average 2 goals a game. Their power play was on 23.88%, and their penalty kill was at 83.42%, and the face-off wins were 54.38%. So if you compare that to the Clan stats from last season with us finishing 6th, we gave up 1,848 shots on goal. First of all, against Standout, which is an average of 34 shots on goal per game, and Giants only gave up an average of 26 per game, total of 1,390. If you look at the Clan stats, goals for 150, it's an average of 2.78 against the Giants' average of 4.15. Goals against, we lost 182 goals, which is an average of 3.37 against the Giants of 2. Power play at 22.58, so it wasn't really too far away from Giants' power play, to be fair. And our penalty kill sat at 78.83% against the Giants' 83.42. Our face-off wins, which I think an area we all agreed we need to improve on for this coming season, was 47.69%. So a lot of stats, a lot of numbers there, and I know we can never take stats, but generally you'll find the teams that consistently score more goals than the other team and lose less goals than the other team will be challenging to the top. So on the basis of that, Craig, do you think we've upgraded in terms of, can we score more goals with this roster, do you think, and can we concede less goals, do you think?
Well, we've definitely got goal scorers in the team, 100% on that. There's no way to about that there. I mean, just going over those stats, it just kind of highlights how well Standout performed last season. That amount of goals compared to that amount of shots. But looking at the defensive core we've got as well, I reckon there should be a lot less sloppy plays. Few players last season didn't carry their weight, and that obviously came across in the full performance of the team as well. So I reckon there's no reason why we should be getting that many shots against us and that many goals against us this season. Obviously, depending on how good the goalies are, but from what I've seen, they are good, so we'll see what happens.
I mean, I'm just a layman. I don't really know much about ice hockey, to be honest with you, but Malcolm Cameron, surely Lewis, looks at these stats at the end of the season and thinks, that's a team that's won the league. That's what they've done to win the league. We really need to jump towards that. We need to make changes to the roster. And I mean, what's your thoughts? You think we're on the right track with what the guys we've signed?
Absolutely. I mean, it shows the intent there that one of the worst stats we had last season was face-offs, and we go out and signed the best face-off player in the league, So the intent's definitely there. It's an improved roster from last season, no doubt, on paper anyway. And yeah, it's looking good, to be honest. It's going to improve in all aspects and win the league.
Well, let's hope so. Let's move on to another question. And we've talked about we're going to win the league there, Lewis. Let's talk about expectations then, in terms of a couple of questions here to cover off. So first question, Craig, and around the expectations is from Ali McNair at NM1966. So Ali basically says, what are everyone's expectations for the season, i.e. league position? How far can we go in the cup? And is there any chance we can make the playoff weekend? So that's what Ali's saying. What's your thoughts, Craig? How far can we go in the cup?
Well, previous seasons we've seen us getting quite far in the cup as well, and looking at this lineup, obviously just going based on paper stats here rather than actual physical, but looking at this lineup compared to the teams we had when we got quite far in the cup before, I reckon this is a team that can go to the final. Obviously it depends on how they play in each given night, but there's no reason why we can't make it. I'm
just seeing TikToks getting made of you when we go out in the first round to Fife and we get hammered by them and we're out and somebody puts a TikTok of Craig, we're going to win, we're going to get to the final, and we're no, but I just hope you're right and we don't get that embarrassment there. Along similar lines, Lewis, another one from Glasgow Clan fan now at Glasgow Clan _ fan. How do we think this team will do this season? League position, playoff hopes. Asked about the idea about goaltenders, but we know about that. We've talked about that. So, what's your view? Some of the questions that I asked Craig. What would you be happy with in terms of cup and league position?
Listen, if Craig's getting TikToks made about him with the amount of stuff I tweet, I'll be getting all sorts made about me. But
You've already got to win the league.
What's that?
Are we going to win the cup as well?
Yeah, we're winning a lot. We're winning a lot. I think if we've given a chance to win league, to be honest, I would be happy with a piece of silverware, whether that's the Challenge Cup, playoffs, or league, or all three, if they fancy that. League, like I said, the bare minimum expectation for me is top 4. Anything higher than that's a good season. Top 2, great season. Win the league, perfect season, obviously. Playoff weekend is a must this year. We need to be in that final 4 this year. And then once we get there, last season we get beat by the eventual champions. There's no reason we can't push on from there and win it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm looking for improvement from a 6th place finish, which we said the last episode, we punched above our weight, in my opinion, to finish 6th, but there was that feeling that we could have finished a bit higher. So, yeah, I'm looking for ideally top 4, worst case 5th, so that we play 4th place in a playoff for the quarter. And we need to, as you say, I'd like to see us get to playoff weekend. I know some people will say the end of the season, it depends where you are in the league, is how you should really assess your performance over the season. But, we can't continue to not make playoff weekend. We can't be unlucky all this time. So I want us to really to step up, do well in the Challenge Cup. We've got an opportunity to go far in that, I think. Ideally top 4, but I would take a 5th place at the moment, worst case scenario, and get to the playoff weekend when anything can really happen again. So yeah, that's my own thoughts, but we'll see how that pans out. So that's really expectations for the coming season. Just going to finish off on a couple of other points. So I want to talk a wee bit about off ice. So Clan are doing a lot of good things, in my opinion, off the ice. We've got the rent of the arena, and we're starting to do events like we had the hockey event there where we're selling the hockey tops or socky tops. There's another one I actually get mine on, but it's an old one. Need to buy a new one online. So they're doing events. The OSC are running a fun day coming up as well in August. So it's really that they're looking to utilise the arena wherever possible. It makes complete sense to bring additional revenue in, which can improve the team. And even things like, which I'm sure are close to your heart, Craig, little cuddly Clanguses. I'm sure you've got one of them in your bed, but maybe that's a bit too much. Yeah, talking to Clangus, I've got a question for you that came in, Craig, especially for you from Mo. So you can maybe answer this one before I move on to the arena stuff. So Maureen Murray said, who is Clangus going to have a bromance with this season?
I don't know.
Lightning Jack or Starsky?
Well, Jones is bringing his family over this year, so I reckon Clangus will be more than happy to babysit a little bit for wee Eva. So you can see a little bromance going on there. That's one thing I think all the fans will definitely miss. Watch it out for the end of the games when Clangus and Starrick go.
I'm sure Clangus will find somebody new for this coming season. They get plenty of options. So I diverse a wee bit. I go back to the things about the arena and what we can maybe do off the ice a bit better. So we got a question here, Lewis, from Rod Massey at Erskine ASC. He says, do the Clan have any plans to improve the arena should they have an entrance from the waterfront? Better corporate facilities would be helpful in attracting sponsors. Bring back the bathtub racing and the giant beach balls games for the interval. So in terms of Clan, what would you like to see in terms of the arena? I know they can only really walk before they can run. There's probably lots of plans they would like to do. What would you like to see ideally happening around the arena?
Like you said, I like what they're doing with regards to the OSC. I think that's a brilliant way of keeping up engagement with the club, making the fans feel close to the club. That's the most important part of British ice hockey. I'd love to see more in the community. Obviously, Clan do lots in the community as is. I think we can be pushing even more on that front and getting engagement from non-hockey fans at the moment, bringing in new fans. I think that's the one thing, as much as I hate to admit it, that's the one thing I admire about the Dundee Stars. you see how much their attendances in the arena have improved from that sort of outreach. Yeah, I mean, I think the arena can be used for various things like that. Yeah.
Probably on the right lines, I would say, though, to be fair, the things that we're doing, and even other events like the Masters football, where we're bringing in additional revenue as well, is great to see. So, as I say, we would probably like to see a jumbotron and better corporate facilities. I'm sure they're probably in the plan. But like anything, Craig, in terms of a business, you don't really spend money unless you're going to get money back and some. There's no point in putting up a jumbotron at 250 grand, and then we're going to pay it back. We're not getting any money from it. So it has to probably be sensible things that we do to bring in additional income. So any other things, we've obviously got to deal with Coors as well, the beer deal. Anything you would like to see in terms of food or drink or other things you would like to see the clan doing to probably connect with the fan base a bit more, and two, to bring in additional revenue?
In regards to like the food and drink, I reckon that with the Coors deals I've got, it's fantastic. I mean, it's just the one downside to me having the little man to come to the hockey. I don't get to drink, so I need to drive. But one thing I would like them to do in regards to the food side, like with Belfast, is they've got the popcorn. Every time we go, we're always straight for the popcorn because it's quite good actually. But I'd like them to do popcorn there as well, not just the wee bags sort of thing, So that'd be a kind of food aspect. But I do agree with the original question about bringing back like the bathtub racing and the big balloon. I can't remember what they're called, but bringing back that sort of thing as well. There's a bit more fan engagement in between the periods as well. I know I'd definitely be up for it. I'm fairly certain I could speak on behalf of Lewis and say he'd be up for that as well.
I think, to be fair to the clan, COVID really put paid to probably a lot of things last season. I think this year we can really kick on. One thing I would probably like to see as a fan is a bit more engagement with the coach. Maybe some Q&A events where I know that one was done with sponsors, but the general fan base should, in my opinion, be able to attend events like that, even if they're organised by the OSC, where we get Malcolm Cameron along and we can ask him questions. I think that also builds that sort of closeness with the community and the fan base. I know Malcolm Cameron, when I was at the playoff weekend, came over and sat with the fans, which was maybe a sign that he wants to be a bit closer to the fans and make that connection a bit more with them, which was good to see. I'd like to see a wee bit more done. Again, that's maybe in the pipeline, in terms of that. I'd like to see a wee bit more engagement around using the arena to do a Q&A, get the beers flowing, get the popcorn sales, get the wee cuddly Clanguses sold, and make money, and other events within the arena that we can utilise to get connect with the fan base, but also to bring in more revenue. The more revenue, the better. Whether that be Clanguses or whatever, that's always going to add extra money and improve the roster at the end of the day, in my opinion. Just going to finish off on the last point, which was positives we can take to this coming season. So, your view, Craig, what positives from everything that's happened with the clan can we take as clan fans into this season?
Well, first and foremost, we're starting the league at the same time as everybody else, so that can only be a good thing, rather than chasing everybody. So quite glad we're at. I mean, as of right now, we're 50 days away from our first actual competitive game. We'll actually be near enough the end of the first period this time right now. So looking forward to that. But the only kind of drawback for me at the moment is not knowing what the pre-season is going to be like. I've seen obviously plenty of rumours online about if we're getting Dundee Stars, but as a fan, I'd just like to see a bit of confirmation regarding that, and so I can actually make some plans to make sure I'll be able to attend it.
Yeah, no, I agree. It'd be good to get some pre-season information out. What's yourself, Lewis? What's your positive that we can take into the season as a clan fan? Should we be excited for this season?
Absolutely. On the point of next season, I think the plans should already be in flow to get some away games in Europe next pre-season. Let's do it.
So you guys winning the treble and we're in Europe. This is brilliant.
Oh, exactly.
This is a real good TikTok.
But I think I'm really excited for next season. It's been a good few seasons since I've been excited at the beginning of the season. Expectations are high. Yeah, we're going to go.
Great, guys. Well, thank you very much for joining me again. It was good to catch up. Now the roster's completed. Everything's looking a lot of positives we can look forward to for the coming season. Be good to get some pre-season information out because we're obviously desperate to get back to any kind of game. Even a game against Solway would be great to go down there again and see that. But I really appreciate your time, and I no doubt we'll catch up with you again. So thank you very much for joining me, Lewis and Craig, and no doubt catch up with you soon.
Cheers, Kelly.
Great, guys. All the best. Bye-bye.
Cheers.